Well, hello out there, everybody. This is Marvelous Mark with your Raw review for July 16th, 2012, emanating from Las Vegas, Nevada, and the Mandalay Bay Casino. Anyway, the show kicks off with CM Punk in the ring talking about the pipe bomb that he let off in the same place a little over a year ago. And he's talking about this, that, and the other thing. Then when finally he gets interrupted by the Big Show, and I thought he did a decent job of getting the heat on himself tonight. And he mentions about John Cena winning Money in the Bank, and that after I knock you out tonight, John Cena could just well come down and cash in Money in the Bank on you. And he drops the microphone like for his own pipe bomb. So if this segment did anything, it set up the main event for tonight, which Michael Cole talked about the right as Raw started tonight, and that's about all you can say about this segment. So we lead into our first match of the night, which is the WWE Tag Team Title match between the Boom Truth, Kofi Kingston and R-Truth, versus the Primetime Players, Titus O'Neil and Darren Young, along with AW, Abraham Saddam Washington. This match is alright, I guess. It probably would have been better suited to push it back to next week for the 1000th episode of Raw. I mean, yeah, they're putting all their eggs in one basket anyway, so why not just throw this egg in there? But AW tried to interfere towards the end of the match. Titus O'Neil gets the Trouble in Paradise and then the Pay Dirt move, so Kofi and R-Truth go over clean, then retain the titles. But AW needs more airtime, folks. He really does. I really like to listen to him, and I said before a couple of weeks ago, I really do think he's the modern day mouth of South Jimmy Hart, and he brings an asset to the show itself and to managers which are very few and far between anymore. So, yeah. And backstage segment, you come up on AJ, and Daniel Bryan comes up to her and just basically says, "Hey, I want to apologize for all the awful things I've said to you ever since WrestleMania." And while this is going on, Eve comes up and talks to Daniel Bryan about how that he deserted her last week during their tag team match, and she gets to go out and find another partner. And so basically what this did was set up a mixed tag team match between AJ and Daniel Bryan, and then Eve and a partner of her choosing. Then next you have Alberto Del Rio against Zack Ryder. Wasn't really too much of a match. Del Rio is showing more of his aggressive side, which has been really prevalent in the last few weeks. He wins clean in a couple minutes, but that's not really the big story here. Big story is the return of Rey Mysterio, and which is good to finally bring him back. It's good that they brought him back this week instead of waiting until next week to bring him back for the 1000th episode, because it would have just been another high spot in a show that's probably going to be full of them. But so it was a really good thing that they brought him back this week, and probably set up another match for SummerSlam. I know we're thinking a little too far ahead maybe, because they're really focused on the 1000th episode of Raw for next week, but it's good to see Ray back, if nothing else, just because the talent level has been so thin recently with Mysterio and Orton and other people out, but they're starting to get some of these people back now, so it served a good purpose, I think. So we come back to the ring, and we see the legend jobber Heath Slater out there. And you just kind of wonder who's he going to take on this week. Well, turns out it's Rikishi. Yes. Oh, the dancing fool himself. Not really a fool, but you know what I'm talking about. Oh man, this match is short and sweet. Lasted about a minute. Rikishi backed that ass up on Slater to give him the stink face. Then gave him the Samoan spike, which I'd never really seen before from him. I guess it was a homage to the late Umaga, and he hit that big bonsai drop off the rope. So that was it for that. Then afterwards, lights went off. Then when they turned it back on, you got Rikishi dancing in the ring with his two sons, the Uso brothers. So I thought that was a really good segment. It's nice to see Rikishi back, even for something like this. All right, you got 1 hour main event time with the mixed tag team match between Daniel Bryan and AJ against Eve and their mystery partner, which turns out to be The Miz. This match is okay, I guess. Late in the match, Miz tries to interfere, tries to distract the referee. After AJ hits the Shining Wizard on Eve. During the distraction, he got AJ rolled up in the inside cradle, and then Daniel Bryan comes in and reverses it, and so AJ and Daniel Bryan get the win. And afterwards, Daniel Bryan finally tells AJ that he loves her. Blah 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 blah. He gets down one knee again and he proposes again. Because I have nothing else. I want nothing else. AJ says yes, but it would have been better. It would have been really good if she would have gone. If she had said yes, yes. But I guess that they're trying to make Daniel Bryan a face now, because I mean, now that his program at Punk seems to be over now. I guess they're trying to make him a face. Although he got right after he proposed, he still got plenty of booze, but right after the proposal and the acceptance, Daniel Bryan and AJ were going yes, 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 and crowd seemed to be going along with it. And then finally, you get a tweet from both of them saying that that the wedding is gonna be on the 1000th episode of Raw next week. So that ought to be interesting. Alright, then next you had Jack Swagger going up against Ryback, or what we thought was Jack Swagger against Ryback. This wasn't a match because the bell never rang. Swagger attacked Ryback right before the bell was going to sound. But I guess they wanted to show that Ryback could take a little bit of punishment. And I mean, he was successful in blocking Swagger's attempt at an ankle lock, but Ryback then gets the spine buster on him, and then he picks up Swagger 3 times for consecutive power bombs. I mean, that's no small feat when you look at a Swagger and he's 6'6", 260 pounds, and that's pretty tough to do, even if you're Ryback, even if you're a freaking beast like Ryback. But it's good that they're starting to increase Ryback's level of competition a little bit, and they're not just putting him up against tomato cans. And I think he's starting to get a little more over every single week. So McMahon might have a potential problem on his hands. In the next few months, maybe next 6 months to a year or something. It's hard to say. It's hard to say what will happen, but it really sounds like he's starting to get more over with the crowd. Well, holy fucking shit. Vicky Guerrero is sure in rare form tonight, being her annoying self when introducing the SmackDown Money in the Bank winner, Dolph Ziggler. And he talks about how after he cashed in the Money in the Bank on Sheamus, how he's going to be the greatest world champion in history. Even better than such people as Bret the Hitman Hart, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and The Rock. Which then brings out Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho doesn't say a thing because he doesn't need to. This is more about making Dolph Ziggler a bigger deal than what he already was. especially to those casual fans out there who maybe aren't buying it so much as the YWC and the IWC who already think he is. But he just does a lot of talking, and Jericho ends up hitting him with Code Breaker to end the segment. And it really was more about building up Dolph Ziggler, because Jericho doesn't need any building up because he's been a big deal for a long time. So, and he's looking pretty worn. He is starting to look his age. He is 42 years old after all. So, next match is Brodus Clay against JTG. Wow, JTG still has a job? Oh, I haven't. It's been a while since I've seen him on TV, and I don't watch NXT. I don't watch Superstars. So, anyway. Although I may have to watch it this week, but anyway. Brodus Clay wins with the squash. I have liked JTG in the past. I liked him with Shed Gaspard in Crime Time, but it's hard to get behind somebody that the WWE doesn't get behind. So if they don't give a shit about him, oh well. Then you get up to the main event, which is CM Punk against Big Show, non-title match. Punk ends up winning by DQ after, Show pushes the referee out of the way. And he makes like he's going to hit the WMD Weapon of Mass Destruction, which then brings out John Cena with his Money in the Bank briefcase that he won last night. He comes down there for his big announcement that he announced on Tout earlier in the day. And turns out he's going to be the honorable. He's going to do the honorable thing. He's going to cash in his Money in the Bank contract next week on the 1000th episode of Raw against CM Punk. Well, Big Show is saying here, "Oh, why don't you just cash it in now and do what everybody else has done?" Blah blah blah. Something to that effect. But it turns out the big announcement is that he set that briefcase upside Big Show's head and knocks him off the apron, and wow, this could be interesting, folks. Well, final thoughts on this week's show. It actually wasn't that bad, which is a hell of a lot better than what you could have said for the last few Raws. Especially last week's, because last week's was one of the worst Raws I'd seen in a very long time. The Punk and Jericho match for next week, that could be really interesting. I mean, because Show could come down and interfere in the match and cause Cena the win, and therefore he'd become the first person to lose Money in the Bank after cashing in the contract. The Daniel Bryan AJ engagement and subsequent marriage for next week, that could be interesting. I don't know hard to say what's going to happen there. It's nice to see Rikishi come back again and squash the legend jobber Heath Slater. With Ryback, they're starting to amp up his level of competition bit by bit. I mean, yeah. The match with Swagger wasn't really a match, but anyway. And then next week, makes you wonder how much TV time the Game Triple H is going to get next week. When he's going to open up the show with D-Generation X and Shawn Michaels. You're going to see him in two capacities next week. With D-Generation X, and we're gonna hear Brock Lesnar's answer to Triple H for SummerSlam. Okay, one more thing I forgot to mention. I mean, God, I am thinking that the 1000th episode of Raw is gonna be either a colossal success or a colossal fail. Because it really seems like they're putting all their eggs in one basket and bringing everybody back. I mean, yeah, you're You're going to see the return of the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Rock's going to be on there. Brock Lesnar's going to be on there. I've heard even Goldberg's going to be on there. Scott Steiner's going to be on there. Ooh, I think that then some of the matches that are going on next week. So, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens.